Well, what a seriously gloomy way to start Monday. It's not going to be easy to check around the sheep this morning, but as I said before, it'll be a case of making sure I go all around the edge and make sure they're okay. This evening I'm speaking at my Young Farmers Club, so they've asked me to do a meeting and I'll head up there, I'll do a presentation, try not to make it too boring, but I'll just be touching on kind of my journey into agriculture, a bit about boots and heels, and then I guess some of the opportunities which have come from me building my Instagram profile, starting this channel, and maybe, hopefully, some of the younger members there will think that showcasing things that they're doing on the farm in the future will be something that's, that they can work with. So for those of you who haven't heard of Young Farmers, I think I'm right in saying it's the biggest or one of the biggest youth organisations in the country. Now it's for members aged between 10 and, well, it's now 28, it added, well, a couple of years got added on after COVID. So basically most clubs have meetings once a week. They tend to have a break over summer when it's harvest, and it's just a fantastic organisation to be involved in, to learn more about farming, to go around different farm tours, maybe a feed mill tour, and also, I guess, just build up that group of friends in your local area who are also interested in farming. Now, we actually did an episode on, well, it was in our myth busting series, and we were talking about the fact that you don't have to be a farmer to be a young farmer. Now, particularly if you're from a non-farming background, you probably haven't even heard of Young Farmers, let alone know if it's something you can join. So that was actually with Nigel Owens, rugby referee legend, and it was really, really fascinating to talk to him about it and actually talk about some of the skills that he learned at Young Farmers, which helped him in later life, and public speaking being one of them. I think one thing that does happen when some of our junior members are in schools, and they could still be rural schools, but they can often be alienated for being from a farming family, and unfortunately that definitely does happen. But I guess it's a completely different way of life for some children to contend with. The idea that some of their peers have maybe been up in the morning to milk, or come in smelling of cows or pigs or whatever, it can be quite challenging to accept children from farming families. So Young Farmers is a really, really good place for them to come and connect with people who basically just get it. If you do want to find out more, you can go on the NFYFC website and you'll be able to get in contact with someone and find out what clubs are operating in your area as well. I'm just about to do a sheep's foot. We've got a few inside at the moment which are maybe being treated, being jabbed, and actually now the weather's turned and the ground's really, really wet, they're better inside on clean dry straw, and hopefully their feet will heal a bit quicker. Now the light has really got away from me, so there is a light in the fold yard here, but I've had to bring out another one just to make sure I can see properly and do a good job of this foot and see if there's any more treatment that she needs. Now, with us being in the run up to lambing and these sheep are fairly heavily pregnant, we have to be really careful what injections we give them and make sure that we check with the vet and ensure that anything we do give them is absolutely necessary. So you can see this sheep's foot here. It looks a bit sore, but it's definitely a lot drier than it has been before. As you can see, we've been treating it with blue spray, but right at the bottom there's a little bit of pus coming out. What we'll do now is clear the little bit of straw from there, check if she needs some more spray, and jab as required. So as we've begun to clear a bit more, you can see that it is still quite sore at the bottom, and actually there's still some swelling in the foot. Now, for us, as I said, we'll jab as required, and it probably will be a case of we'll call the vet just to check that the antibiotics we're using are definitely doing the right thing, and double check on the painkiller dose as well that we're giving her. Last night I did my Young Farmers talk and I think it went pretty well. There was quite a good turnout, lots of junior members, so I had to try and cater what I was saying to them as well. I did a couple of quiz rounds with some chocolates as prizes to keep people interested, and I had plenty of questions at the end. I have to do a shout out to Olly for the hat. Thank you for this, but it does mean that it's definitely winter if I am breaking into the woolly hats. I actually just caught Ralph in the background. He's looking at squirrels again, looking up into the trees, bless him. He's just obsessed. In my last video, I mentioned that I'd been to a talk given by our vets on pre-lambing nutrition, and so my next job is to go and put out some mineral buckets for the ewes to lamb. Also, I couldn't possibly walk down there. It's not too far, I just have to drive across the fields, but I am definitely driving because I can't carry buckets and do the walk. Just got to the field and I'm not gonna lie, I'm too nervous to drive in there. It's permanent pasture for a reason. It is quite a wet field and I just don't want to have to make the call home to say I'm stuck. So this is the texture of it. So I mean that bit's just a little bit flaky there, but it's hard, and they will lick it, but they also kind of grind their teeth on it a bit as well. Full of minerals that they could need in the run up to lambing, and if the grass isn't providing them, then these supplement the nutrients and hopefully ensure that all our sheep, you know, at the time when they need these minerals most, are getting them. I'll be interested to see if these sheep go for the bucket straight away. I suspect they will because it's a bit of a novelty, it's a bit of a treat. However, I'm not worried that that means they're lacking loads of nutrients right now. As I said, it's more the fact that it's a bit of a treat. Hopefully what I'd like to see is, as I come down and check them in the coming days, there's maybe one just having a lick every now and then as it feels like it needs it. And as I said, they don't gorge themselves because they're absolutely desperate for the minerals. They do also just recognise buckets as food as well, so I suspect they might come over just because of that. I feel like that one there is already looking. I'm going to put it here actually, it's slightly higher up, and we'll see if any of them decide that they want to come and eat it. This sheep leading the way is number 4, so you've seen her in some of my other videos. She's a favourite one and she's definitely keen for this bucket. Do you want it there then? So as you can see, a couple on it straight away and they're all going to come running. As I said, it's this idea of it being a novelty and a treat after having grass all summer. The other thing about sheep is that they follow each other. So as soon as one thinks something's worth looking at, they all come running. As you can see, the novelty is even worn off for some of these ones already, which is a good sign. As I said, they'll just go and have a bit of mineral as they choose. Pleased with how they're looking actually as well. You don't want them too fat going into lambing. Some of them probably are maybe a bit on the fat side, but they're young ewes. Some of them, it'll be their first time lambing. So if they're not looking in good condition at this age, then they never will be. I've got the vet coming out, well, in about half an hour or so to come and look at the sheep's foot, which I showed you, well, in this video earlier. Now, the vet thinks it could be an abscess because the treatment hasn't worked as they'd like. It's something that I could have maybe attempted to have a look at myself, but I said, actually, do you know what? I've never seen one like this and I'd like you to come out. So, do you know what? I think it's absolutely fine to admit sometimes that you need help from the expert and you want to learn. And hopefully, if we do have this situation again, after the vet's been out, I would know myself how to deal with it. But yeah, I'm getting the vet out for this one and hopefully they'll be able to sort it, find out what's wrong, and then we can work out how best to treat her. We've just had the vet out for this lame sheep and unfortunately it might not be as good news as what we expected. So we've been dosing her for 5 doses with some quite strong antibiotics and unfortunately they haven't got hold of the infection as much as we'd have liked. The vet's recommended keeping on the same painkiller dose and then changing the antibiotic, so to try and get one that might target this infection a bit more. So we've got 5 days dosing on that antibiotic and then fingers crossed after that we'll start to see some difference. If not, the outcome might not be looking good, but we're hopeful and we're going to put in all the effort that we need. It's financially quite draining, but we'll do everything we can. My next stop is Selby Livestock Market. It's their Christmas show and sale, so they judge stock today and then sell it tomorrow. There's also things like a pork pie competition and a few other stands as well. So I did a video for them a couple of weeks ago, just showcasing more of their stock in a typical day at market as well. So go check that out, it's on their Facebook page. But otherwise I'll bring you along today for a little look around. Looking around the machinery, there's some hurdles, handling systems, and I'm also eyeing up a new pickup as well. Just look at those pork pies, don't they look amazing? And this is the prize-winning rib of beef. And I couldn't resist trying a shot of toffee gin, and it was delicious. Now it was time for tea. I had a full roast beef dinner. I forgot to video it, but there's my clean plate and it was amazing. Here's one of the farmers getting his cattle all brushed up and ready, and then they head into the ring. They look very, very smart, clipped out as well, and ready to be judged. This is the unhaltered class. Now we move on to the haltered class, and the ginger heifer in front won Supreme Champion. Well, we've made it to Olly's house. You might know him as Olly Bloggs on social media, ready for our AHDB live stream. We're talking about AHDB sector plans and labour in agriculture. If you missed it, you can catch up on the AHDB YouTube channel, or there's a video over on my Instagram page. And we finished off the evening with a glass of fizz, kindly supplied by Olly. We're lifting fodder beet today, so we're in the second pull of this field. I'm in my element, I'm so excited to be back on a tractor. Just going down the gears a bit, you can hear it struggling a bit. Yeah, I'm really excited to be back on the tractor, and we are not really managing to keep up with the fodder beet lifting machine. So actually, the fodder beet are looking pretty big, the clamp's filling up well. Also, managed not to get stuck so far. I probably shouldn't say that. I'm hoping the next video isn't of me getting pulled out. But yeah, we're managing quite well. The ground's holding up pretty well. With us being pretty pushed to keep up with the fodder beet lifting machine, I haven't actually got that much footage of the machine working and emptying into the trailer and everything like that. But back in episode 2, I've got some better footage of how the machine actually works, which hopefully if you haven't seen one in action, you can go and check that out. So this fodder beet, some of it we'll save for our own sheep, but the vast majority of it will be sold to a local stock feed merchant, and it will go for animal feed. We're just tipping now, and as you saw there, the driver of the harvester can lift up that chute and change the speed as well to make sure that the trailer gets filled. Today I'm on our John Deere 6210R and our Bailey trailer, so basically our biggest tractor with our smallest trailer. I suspect it will be dark when I'm finished, but if you guys want to have a look what tractors we have and kit and stuff, I can show you that in another episode, so let me know if that's something that you'd be interested in me doing a video on. Thank you as always for watching this episode. If you enjoyed it, please subscribe to my channel and like and share.